How's it going, homies? I was just getting ready to do a Shanny for Christ video. I was like, alright, Shanny, Rev, they're beefing with Foodie Beauty. It'll be just a regular day. And I'm like, well, I wonder what Anacondasins has been up to. And I just clicked over at the worst time possible. Guys, this is some terrible news coming from Anaconda Sin. I mean, it's the most vile thing I've heard come from her. And if you guys watch my documentary on her, Anaconda Sin's story is basically just disturbing, every single bit of it. Yet somehow it gets worse. So Anaconda Sins had a husband, his name was Shannon, and they spent roughly a few years together, and apparently Shannon was in her life on and off since she was like 16, and I'm pretty sure he was over the age of 18 during that, so Shannon is of course a weird person. So now, fast forward all the way to this point, a few nights ago, Anaconda Sins releases some videos accusing Shannon of being involved with their very young daughter, around 8 to 7 years old at the time. And when I was first telling this story, I mean, I knew it was bad, I knew everything about it was vile, but just to get to this level already, and we gotta point out the obvious. Anaconda Sins has thought this, apparently known a little bit about it for a very long time, and we can only imagine that Shannon just refused to get with Anna again, or something to that matter. We gotta remember, Anna is a very spiteful person, but I really don't want to speculate on that stuff too much. Anaconda Sins has had some knowledge about this, and it's just absolutely unbelievable. It took like a spark of her being a little bit spiteful for her to release this information, and I've gotta say, and this is entirely alleged because I've only seen a few posts about it, I didn't see the video myself, but this is like a follow-up video to Anaconda Sins posting some unsavory stuff that she did in the past with younger people as well. Anaconda Sins has went from the girl I just felt kinda sorry for in a Minecraft video like a decade ago to been one of the worst, and I mean absolute worst horror cows to ever be on the internet. What she's doing and what she's exposing is vile, not only because she knows it happened, she would have went on with this knowledge a whole lot longer if something didn't spark her, something didn't influence her, and this kind of follows her like denouncing her religion, so I'm starting to think that her and her dad had some sort of dispute that's led Anna to completely crash out, reveal untold secrets, but with all that said, let's get into the first video.
The way that Shannon came upstairs and said, "You left me alone with Abby." His obsession with her, when he talked about her doing he always talked about her. Huge obsession with her. And yeah, he's a dude. I think he touched her. I think he touched her, dude. That's why he wanted shirts and sweaters made of the three of us.
When I first did my Anna documentary, I thought the one good thing in the story was that Anna let her sister adopt her daughter. I was like, okay, out of the one good thing that happened, this is the good spot in the story, something I didn't even really have to touch on because it was irrelevant. It was so far off how terrible Anna's story was that it didn't even have to be mentioned, and I was so thankful for that. But I was ignorant to the fact that Anna had her for a lot longer than I had thought. Now, I believed that Anna lived with her father all the way up until she was 5, 6 years old, and then when she was about to move out with Shannon, she gave her up for adoption. And I remember telling the stories of Shannon and Anaconda Sins, and they were just god awful. Everything about their relationship was just miserable. Anna always trying to win his love back, him just denying it, selling stuff to get some money to go do what he wants to, and just to think that there was a little girl involved in that. That terrible things was also happening in that house. The Anaconda Sin's story has no limits for how awful it can be. And this one is just beyond words, everybody. I mean, it truly is. This was not what I was expecting to make a video on today. Just laughing about the beef between Shanny and Foodie Beauty. Just did this. We should have saw more red flags when she was texting Cyrax, and Cyrax was been incredibly open to her about, you know, his trolling experience, and especially about who Cyrax is as a person. Because if you don't remember, Cyrax was just telling Anaconda Sins that he's a top tier cupcake eater, you know, there's very few who's above him, and Anaconda Sins is like, yeah, that's cool, I'm down with that, you know, I just want to be more famous, I don't care who makes videos on me or whatnot, you know, Anacondasins, she's very much like Cyrax. She's got like a 1-2 track mind, whereas Cyrax, he can just never get with anybody for it to be a real relationship. It's always some kind of troll or something or other. Anacondasins, she's either thinking about a guy she's about to meet on TikTok or one of her long lost loves, such as Shannon, or she's thinking about how famous she's going to be. She truly cares about nobody else. And when she's bringing this up, don't think for a second that she's trying to defend her daughter. I mean, this is my opinion, I don't think that's what's happening right here. She's not trying to expose anybody, because obviously she's been known about this for, probably 5 years at this point. So her just now saying something, there was definitely some influence. Maybe we can speculate that this was 100% troll influenced. And even if it is, no matter what, it still deserves some investigation, no matter what. But I mean, I guess there is some potential of that, people just talking to Anna and gaslighting her. But that just doesn't seem like what's going on right now. Because recently, Anna has swept all of her social media. She deleted like almost all of her videos. The only thing that truly lived was her YouTube. People were talking about it, a few weeks back. So I don't think Anna has been in much contact with trolls.
It's a sin to have sex outside of marriage. But it's also a sin to have sex in general. So there's no winning. It's just a sin. So I'm basically already going to hell for what I've done.
And guys, here's just a reminder of how Anacondasins actually feels about her child. There's been multiple videos where she stated herself that she has no care or love for her. She in fact just kind of ruined her life, and she was happy that someone took her off her hands. But now you know that she was living with Anna, and that Anna was potentially knowing something was happening, but she didn't care none. All Anna cares about is the boyfriends that she has in her life. And, it used to be kind of sad that none of her boyfriends truly cared back. They never showed her any love, anything of that nature. But now, it's starting to seem really deserving. Especially when she knows what's going on, but she's not going to open her mouth because she wants her boyfriend to show her some love. That is one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. And I understand that the video of her denouncing her religion can seem inconsequential at first, but it might give us a good idea of what's happening right now. See, Anacondasins' father is basically the only reason she does anything in her life. The reason she's got a house, the reason she's not meeting random men on TikTok, it's just because of her father. No matter the allegations she makes towards him, her father definitely helps her out. So her denouncing her religion, which from all of my understanding is the only reason she currently has her house, it's okay, Dad, I no longer need you anymore in my life, I'm gonna do what I want. And he keeps her from saying more of the weird things, keeps her kind of on a leash, but now that he's gone, she's saying this, it just kind of makes some sense. Because no doubt, even if Anna is some kind of mentally disturbed person just making baseless lies on the internet, something does need to be looked into about this. This just can't go unnoticed. That dude definitely needs his history looked up, and someone definitely needs to take a closer look at Anna's history. And, that's just the very least of what should be happening right now.
Okay, so Shannon came back upstairs one time, back when we were married, and he was all happy telling me that he was alone with Abby down in the basement, and he got left alone completely with her. And it makes me wonder if the way he was smiling about it and stuff, she was only 8 years old. Because of the way he used to talk about her when we were having, and the way he was just obsessed with her. And he tried to pursue an opportunity test after we got a divorce. Dude. It's a good thing they got a divorce.
I've watched Anacondasins scarf down one of King Cobra JFS's monstrosities with more emotion on her face than she's got on it explaining this terrible situation that happened to her daughter. You know, with Anna, it goes from like, okay, you think she's lying about her dad, and then you hear her stories about her spying on her sister and the terrible things she said that she did with her little brother at a very young age. And some things I excluded from that documentary, like her apparently getting creeped on by a neighbor. Like, she's experienced these things. She should know better. She should know what to watch out for. And she should have some sympathy. But she clearly lacks any. This is the same person who, when she was with someone who said, hey, you need to get with my dog, she gladly did it. And she kept trying even though the dog wasn't interested in her. She's so above lost the plot. Hopefully this is all just a lie. Hopefully this is all just one of Anna's weird things she gets in her head and then she goes with. And that's just sick enough, but you know, hopefully nothing real ever happened. But if she's super upset about the police officers always hassling her, you know, her having to watch everywhere she goes, watch for them outside, you know, it might ramp up a whole lot now, Anacondasins, and I really expect her to be complaining on it on TikTok sometime in the near future and just digging herself a far deeper hole.
The way Shannon came upstairs and said that he was left alone with Abby, and his obsession with her, talking about her doing and always talking about her.
If this was a true story, there were so many red flags, and if anything did happen, I believe, this is all my opinion, but Anacondasins is most likely just as much to blame as Shannon is. This story, I just can't believe this happened. I can't believe Anacondasins would stoop this low, and to know about this for so many years. But I guess that's enough for me today, guys. I'll update if anything else happens on this, or if anything else big happens in the Anacondasins universe. But that's all for me, and I'll catch you guys next time.